Ow. I'm back. So, it's been a minute, huh? Hey. I think it's been like 5 years. Maybe 6. If you've been here since the car videos, the random vlogs, my music covers, then yeah, I think you kind of know that I just disappeared for a bit. So this is kind of where I've been. Right now I'm in my WRX. It's filthy. I have a lot of shit in here that I need to clean. But I also haven't driven this thing in like close to a month. The last time I drove it was earlier last month. That being said, you can see the reason why I haven't been driving this thing because of that right there. But I'll get into both of these in a later video because the last video I had, I didn't even have this thing. So I'm gonna make a whole separate video talking about this thing that I'm currently sitting in and that thing right there that I just picked up not too long ago. So let's go somewhere. Looking clean now. I probably spent like $50 just washing the outside. $69. Alright, that's enough. That's enough. It's a visual when you get fucked by gas prices. $18? Jesus. So where's Thoungsai been? If you haven't met me or haven't seen any of my stuff before, I'm kind of all over the place with content. I just do what I like and I record it sometimes. So, hi, my name is Thoungsai. Nice to meet you. Glad we're acquainted. Yeah. So long story short, who am I kidding? It's gonna be a long fucking story. Let's start with the year 2020. Huh? How about that? 6 years ago now. Yeah, that's fucking tight. That's kind of like the year where everything stopped, right? Both literally and figuratively. Like I think everybody understands what I mean by that. So I turned 21 in 2020. You know, the same year that everything shut down. That's great. While everything paused, I felt like I really just didn't. I was an essential worker. If my family got sick, I got sick. I mean, it's not like a contest or anything, but it took me like 1.5 years to get sick. So anxiety and depression hit me harder than anything that I've ever felt before. I wasn't super sure like how I felt about it. I just knew that I was affected. That was also the year that I lost my childhood best friend. His name is Austin. He and I grew up together. We did all sorts of things. We just did everything together, man. We grew apart like most people do. You know, we became teenagers and then we became young adults, but we were still friends. We kept in touch. We chatted with each other every now and then. You know, we had plans. We're planning on hoping to move in together when we became adults. We wanted to, you know, grow old and drink like our dads did together. You know, they got drunk together all the time, and so we always made a joke like, watch, we're gonna end up just like them. My dad and his dad loved Heineken. I hated it, so did he. Coronas are a little bit better. I'm a fan of Modelo, so. But yeah, that was our plan. We were gonna drink Heineken together, even though we thought that shit was disgusting. Bro, 2020 took the life out of me, man. I just got the shit beat out of me that year. Creatively, emotionally, spiritually, you name it. I didn't really feel like myself anymore, and that was a problem. At least not that I knew yet. Today's Friday the 27th, March 2026. It's currently 81 degrees outside. It's really hot. The AC in the WRX kind of took a shit. I don't really know what's wrong with it. Hopefully I don't got to take it in and get it checked out because I don't want to pay for that. Let's move into 2021, the year where I really felt like I was just trying to work out the pain and the most me way possible. I really felt lost, like I didn't really have a sense of purpose. So I did what I thought would fix it, like most young men would think or whatever. I started working, you know what I mean? I worked a lot. I figured if I stayed busy enough that I wouldn't feel empty, and instead I just burnt myself out like bad. I was still depressed for sure. I was still trying to reconnect with art, you know, music, cars, the things that like made me feel alive. I tried to, you know, keep doing that, but those things slowly kind of on a slow decline, like just dissipated. By the end of that year, I traded in my BRZ and I got a WRX, you know, this thing right here. It's been a dream car of mine since I was a teenager, so it was kind of a natural step in the progression of getting the next car. So yeah, a dream car. For a moment it felt like a win, but internally I was still struggling pretty bad. But at least for the time being, I had a sick ass car, you know what I mean? Jumping into 2022, 4 years ago, bro. It's like I was drowning in productivity. This is where I convinced myself that work was the solution. That I wasn't tired. I wasn't lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not tired. I just need to work harder. So naturally, I picked up another job. I was already busy with 1.5, doing things on the side. So I decided 2.5 sounds great. So I picked up another full-time job. On paper, I was grinding. In reality, I was drowning. I was angry, exhausted. I was extremely sad. It started to bleed into every portion of my life. Imagine that, right? I think I'm fixing myself, and I think I'm doing better for myself, and you know, I'm just not. I'm just doing worse. You know, I'm very sad. And then I ended up getting fired from one of my jobs. I thought I was working hard, and I really was, but I was burning myself out at the bits. That's a story for another time. I don't think I'll get into it right now. Weirdly, that's when life got a lot lighter, you know? Go figure. Turns out the stress that I was, shout out to that C8. Anyways, turns out that stress that I was carrying wasn't even mine to begin with. I mean, a lot of it was. At that job, I was being misinterpreted, misrepresented, misunderstood, unheard. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, after that, I was like, I felt relieved, and I questioned that because I was like, why do I feel so relieved? That's when I realized something. I sometimes losing something is the first step to, like, you know, trusting myself and breathing again. Yeah. Yeah, I left it running because who the fuck's gonna try to steal a manual? That was a joke. There's a lot of people who would try to steal a manual, but I have a gun, so. The WRX's AC is kind of garbage, so I had to change into the Tahoe. I don't really recall where I left off, but just jump into the next year. 2023, bro. The year that I moved back to Alaska and had like maybe a little identity crisis. Yikes. For me, this was a turning point, you know? I left everything that I knew and that I loved behind, and I moved back to Alaska to live with my brother. Because for lack of better terms, he was somebody that was outside of my current situation, who wasn't going to judge, who wasn't going to try and push anything on me or whatever, just support me, you know what I mean? And I think I needed that. I thought maybe a fresh start would fix me, you know? So I went. You know, at first, I chased something that I didn't even truly want. I wanted to join the military. That's something that I wanted a long time ago when I was a kid. I was getting ready, you know, right out of high school. I was gonna fucking do it, but not necessarily because it was my dream. I just thought that it would make my parents proud. You know, I thought I needed to prove something, right? I thought I needed constantly to prove that like I wasn't a fucking bum. You know, that might be a trend throughout my entire life, but I just constantly felt like I needed to do something bigger than myself. So I ended up applying for a bunch of jobs in Alaska. After being out of a job for so long, I was doing DoorDash. That was cool for a bit. I secured a job at Texas Roadhouse, which was awesome. I loved it. I loved working there. But I ended up securing a higher paying job, and I went for that instead. I started working at a Toyota dealership, which was sick. I applied for sales, didn't get it. I got offered a lot porter position instead, which is, for lack of better terms, like, you know, the guys who take care of the cars and move shit around. It's not what I wanted, but I accepted it. You know, if it's not something that I truly wanted and I accepted it anyways, why, do you ask? It's because the general manager was a smooth talker, and he talked me into believing that it was like this huge opportunity and this big thing that if I worked hard enough at, I could be promoted and moved up into sales. Like this big opportunity, whatever. I ended up working really hard, like maybe more than I should have for this type of work that I was in. And I detailed cars, I moved them around, whatever. And plus, I loved being around cars in general, so like it kind of worked out, you know what I'm saying? Like it made sense for me to be involved in something like that because it's what I like to do anyways. And then it hit me. I ended up meeting somebody at the dealership, and he was hired for the job that I didn't get hired for. I watched somebody else get that job, the job that I applied for. So I guess that's when it clicked for me. I wasn't chosen for what I could do. I was placed where I needed to be. And I accepted less because I didn't fully believe in myself. Crazy. That was the lesson for me. For most of my life, I've been chasing validation, trying to become something, a version of myself of what other people wanted for me, instead of actually asking myself, like, what is it that I actually want? What do I want to do? So in turn, Alaska kind of broke me, you know, I had like this weird thing, but it also ended up rebuilding me, like in a weird way. I ended up quitting the job. I thanked my brother for all the support and the help, and that was really key for me. I needed to do my own thing and not feel forced or rushed into anything. He accepted pretty much everything that I had to say and then helped me with whatever decision I wanted to make. So shout out to my brother. I thanked my brother. I moved back to California. This time though, I felt different. I felt more prepared. I felt clearer, more confident, still insecure, but more aware. Later in the year, so late 2023, I just moved back to California. I got my old job back as a barista, and then I also started searching for something like, you know, that was meaningful for me. And I found it. So I got hired onto a crisis intervention company where I got to work with individuals, both big and small, young and old, with developmental disabilities who were displaying crisis behaviors, you know, the type of stuff that like you wouldn't necessarily need to call the cops for, and try to handle behavior intervention. So helping people, serving people, and for the first time in years, it dawned on me that this was something that has always filled my cup. It's always filled my heart. And I ended up remembering, or maybe even kind of rediscovering, that I've always had a passion for like helping people, helping others, giving, and being a part of somebody else's success story, you know? So that's cool. 2024. This year was a lot of growth, and a good amount of momentum. I felt super like, oh, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like I was ready for more. So I went all in. I ended up working multiple jobs again. I know. But I got multiple jobs. I went to EMT school. I passed that. I started grinding again, but this time I had a purpose. That was the difference. I had a purpose. Once I finished EMT school, I ended up getting a raise at my job, like a significant one. And then I got another one. I got another significant pay raise. And then I got promoted. Sick, huh? So at this point, I've been making more money than I ever had, like in my entire life. So obviously I felt proud. I felt like I was on top of the world. I ended up making a mistake. I put off my EMT licensing, my certification, you know, taking the National Registry test or NREMT, just because things were going so well at my job that I was like, I don't need to do that right now. I'll just push it off later. The lesson I guess that I learned in that is just, you know, if you have a chance to level up, like, don't throw it away. Hindsight's 2020. Here I am, you know. But yeah, don't ever delay anything or any chance you have to, like, you know, do better for yourself just because you're comfortable, because that only in the long run ends up making it worse for you. So 2025, this is the year where I stepped into a leadership position, and I had a lot of growing pains with it. This promotion that I was just talking about that I had gotten at the end of 2024, it really stretched me out. Like, just pause. It tested me for sure. It forced me to learn how to lead all over again in a different way than I had ever really kind of experienced. I was used to leading a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of had to get a different perspective. It taught me how to serve better, how to be more responsible for other things and others other than just myself. It wasn't easy. So yes, there were a lot of growing pains, there were a lot of ego checks, believe it or not. Yeah, hard lessons. I didn't take my EMT test. That was one of my biggest L's. But yeah, that's what it taught me. It taught me that momentum isn't permanent. It's just something that you kind of have to keep building and then running with it. You know what I'm saying? You see that? We're here, 2026. 6 years after I posted my last video, after I had, you know, initially stopped being and doing anything creative, we're here. It's 2026. Today's date is March 27th, 2026. Things at work have changed. My role shifted and I felt super unsettled. I started to reminisce on the last like 5-6 years that I've been going through some stuff. And here's the difference, right, from where I was 5-6 years ago. Back in 2020, 2022, 23, I'm different. You know what I'm saying? I'm more confident, I'm more self-aware, I'm more skilled, more free mentally. The thing is, I know my worth now, you know, and it also helps out that, like, I've had a couple of viral TikTok videos, so that's that ego I was talking about. Millions of views, millions. It's great. People are laughing at the dumb shit that I post, which is cool. Honestly, that kind of fills me up too. Creativity never really died in me. It just kind of went quiet, which scared me for a long time, for 5-6 years. So I know a lot of this sounds like I'm talking a lot about like my losses and my L's and blah, blah, blah. And it maybe even sounds like I'm complaining about shit, which maybe I am. I don't know. I'm talking to a fucking camera, dog. Give me a break. But I do want to acknowledge like a lot of the wins that I did have. Throughout all of this, I grew into leadership. I found purpose in helping people again. I bought a new truck, which is sick. I didn't give up. Never back down, never what. Finding myself creatively again, which is always a plus. And I guess maybe that's the real point. So why am I back? I guess I just miss myself. I miss the kid who made the car videos, the kid who sung covers of songs, objectively worse than the originals, but it didn't matter because, you know, I thought they sounded good. The kid that just created things because it felt good. It was fun. So I don't know exactly what's next, but I know I don't want to disappear again. So if you're still here after like 5 years, thank you. Missed you. Glad you're still around. Thank you. And if you're new, whether it is you've just met me, you just found my stuff through YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, welcome. I guess we'll just see where this goes. I'm not a finished product by any means, but I'm also not who I used to be. I think that's something worth documenting, and I'm glad you're here. So, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage. And yeah, I'll give you a quick update. As of March 27th, I lost my job a couple weeks ago. A whole slew of drama and things happened. So maybe I'll get into it in a video, but it's still a little fresh. So I don't want to talk too much about it right now. But let's just say it hurt. I'm still pretty mad, but I'm still alive. So either way, I'm better for it. So